we're streaming. There we go. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm actually writing a little memo in the chat for our YouTube followers. So be looking for that in just a second. And I think that Erica is getting everything set up on her end. You're good. Okay, cool. Sorry. Why do I not have these links? Just bear with me just one moment, everyone. Okay. Erica, can you see the that link in the chat? Like the YouTube chat?
No, I can't.
You cannot. What?
I see Katina's comment, but that's it.
Okay. Let me go about it a different way. I swear. Today is that day where I'm just like, okay, this is just going to be the way it is. Thank you for your patience, everyone. We're usually slightly more organized. All right. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me share my window real quick. Okay. I wonder if it will. I'm just not going to rock the boat. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is our last virtual psychology club meeting for the semester, and we have the privilege of having somebody from the I just lost my brain Mental Health Association of Oklahoma with us as a speaker today. I'm going to do a few announcements before I pass it off to her, but I wanted to let you all know this is our last virtual meeting. My name is Laura Hicks. I am the president of the Psychology Club. I'm a senior graduating this December. My career path is my PhD in hopefully social psychology with an emphasis in the self and identity, potentially like trauma, so playing with some of that. We have a number of other officers, several of which are not here with us today. So I won't introduce everyone, but most everyone you see here is our officers or amazing members. So if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out, even if it's after this meeting. Like, we're obviously still active. We're still doing things this semester. Our next meeting is in person. It's November 19th. So 2 weeks from today at 1 p.m. It's at the Broken Arrow campus in the Education Building, room 109. And we are actually assembling our homeless donation bottles. We've been collecting items since January, I think, for items for these bottles to deliver to the homeless. So again, that will be done from 1 to 2 p.m. in room 109. You can earn volunteer hours for this, so we'll have all the documentation you need in order to be able to turn those in where you need them. volunteer hours look amazing on your Vita, as well as any resumes and things like that. So it is an opportunity for you all in person this semester. We are still collecting donation items. So I know one of the biggest things we're missing are snacks, which I thought was kind of interesting, but pre-packaged, like individually packaged snacks that are shelf staples. So like beef jerky or like cheese and crackers or those sorts of things. We want to be able to include at least one item of those in each bottle for the homeless. So we are lacking several of those. So that is one item that I know we need. We are still looking for things like, those little drawstring bags that they're just like real thin and you get them just usually at giveaways and things. We have some items that won't fit into bottles. And so we want to put some bags together. So if anybody has any extras of those that are just sitting in their closet like I do, and you are interested in donating those, feel free to do so. We do have our table on the first floor of the education building, actually right outside of room 109. And it's just a big black tablecloth. It's got our Psych Club logo on it, so it's hard to miss. But there's a box there. Feel free to drop any items in there. We are taking donations all the way up until 1 o'clock on the 19th. We do have some giveaways. We are giving away a bottle. Some of them are, I don't know if you can even see that because I know I'm big and stuff. These bottles, we have some that are colored, but a lot of them are clear. And we've had 3 giveaway winners that basically every event that we've had, so volunteer opportunities, we've had our coat drive, any of those things outside of our meetings, we've given away a bottle to a participant. So our giveaway winners so far are Sarah Young, Hannah Meredith, and Erica Dotson. We do have a midterm giveaway, and I am going to stop sharing this one and play a little video. Gotta find it. Hold on a second. This is our midterm giveaway, which is a $25 gift card, a sticker, like a Psychology Club sticker, and a Psychology Club magnet. The $25 gift card is to Quick Trip. So anybody who has attended, and I'm going to talk about this in the video, I'll just play the video and then cover anything else after that. I swear, me and my I'm not ADD, but I feel like it sometimes. Okay. Giveaway for the Psychology Club. I believe it's a $25 Quick Trip gift card, a magnet, and a sticker. Everybody who attended meetings, volunteered, purchased anything, like a t-shirt, mask, cord, whatever, for the Psychology Club was entered into this drawing for each instance. So if you attended 5 meetings, you had 5 entries. So we wound up with 92 entries for the first part of this semester. So we are going to draw for that now. Congratulations. So obviously our giveaway is Danielle. I will be reaching out to each one of you to orchestrate how we can get those items to you. I will be, sorry, I got distracted. Go figure. I will be at the donation bottle event on the 19th, and I will have all the t-shirts. So if you've ordered a t-shirt, a cord, a mask, and I should have any stoles for our officers by then as well. I'll have to just confirm that as we get a little closer, just in case they get stuck in the mail. that they'll all be available in person, but we can ship them. There is an additional shipping charge just because we can't fund that through the club, unfortunately. So I will put out another email about that after this meeting so that you guys have all the details. I think I've reached out to people individually, but maybe not as a whole. So those items, if you have not paid for your t-shirt, your mask, your stole, your cord, any of that by basically the end of this meeting, they unfortunately will not be ordered. So that's something to think about. So check your email if you've ordered one, just to make sure that you have not received an email about missing items. So without further ado, Sheila is, like I said, from the Mental Health Association of Oklahoma. It took me forever to get that down because I always just saw like the initials and I was like, I mean, I can make it work, but she is going to talk a little bit about mental health and about the association in general. She graduated from what is that? OU with her master's in social work, and she became a licensed master social worker. Yes. I was like, there's a typo. My bad. Anyway, so I'm going to pass it off to Sheila and let her kind of take it from here. And if you have any questions for her, please feel free to put those in either the chat on YouTube or in the chat here in Google Meets. So I'm going to pass that off to her.
All right. Thank you, Laura. A little nervous with the YouTube thing, but hey, we'll work through this, right? So like she said, my name is Sheila. I've actually worked for the Mental Health Association in Oklahoma in 2017. It's an agency I work for. We started in Tulsa in 1955 and came to Oklahoma City in 2013. So I'm an Oklahoma City person. I'll tell you as much about Tulsa as I can because even though we have a lot of programs that are the same, we also have a lot of programs that are different between the cities. At our agency, we typically focus on 4 main areas, which are mental health, suicide, criminal justice reform, and homelessness. So when you kind of think about those 4 areas, I mean, I want to say almost everyone can relate to one of those at some capacity in their life, whether it's yourself or a friend or a family member or the guy at the convenience store. We've all been touched somehow, some way in those areas. So mental health, different program. We're not actual mental health providers, so we're not providing counseling services or to prescribe medication. We're an advocacy agency, so we're connecting people to those resources within our community. But we do have a mental health assistance center. So there's a hotline that anyone in our state can call, or out of state. We even get out of state calls sometimes. And they're able to talk to a licensed professional. We connect them to different resources that are available in their area. And then we can also connect them to like pro bono counselors because, a lot of folks can't afford mental health services, which if you ask me, it should be free for everyone, but that's my opinion. So we have that. We also offer support groups. We would do those out of our offices in Tulsa and also our offices in Oklahoma City. But of course, with this pandemic, we moved everything virtual, which I think all of us did, which has actually been really great because I feel a lot more people have been able to connect to those meetings that weren't able to connect, pre-COVID. Because sometimes it is a lot to get off work and try to get to the support group. Now you can just connect from the comfort of your couch. We also have this really great program that we call Teen Screen. So this program, there are licensed professionals that go into schools, middle schools, high schools. They will screen kiddos for things like depression, anxiety, maybe suicidal ideation. And if a screen comes back positive, those professionals then work with the parents to get those students, into the help that they need so we can, kind of prevent things that may get bigger over time if early intervention doesn't happen, because we know how important that is. We also offer like employment services. We don't do a lot of that in Oklahoma City. We're trying to bring that here. but in Tulsa, it's pretty big. One of the great employment opportunities that we have in Tulsa is a program called A Better Way. And so that program is for folks who are experiencing homelessness. A van comes like, hey, do you want to work today? They get on that van, they go do some work around the city, and then they get paid cash that day. So, they're not out there having to panhandle or, figure out a way. They can actually do something to earn that money. So that's been a really great program in Tulsa, which has kind of helped build some of our other employment services that we offer. So suicide is one of those things not many of us talk about. I should always be talking about suicide. Statistically in our country, every single day, 123 people die by suicide, and that's way too much. So, I mean, me personally, I feel like we should always be talking about that. How can we prevent it? What can we do? So one of the things we do is a training that we call QPR, which stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. So this training is, for people who may not be a mental health professional. Maybe, it's for a family or a church or a community center. We'll put these trainings on. And this gives people who aren't mental health professionals kind of the tools to help a family member or a friend that has come to them. It gives them the right questions to ask, the right to say, where to run, so we can kind of prevent suicide. As far as criminal justice reform, I wish I had a little bit more information on it. They do a lot in Tulsa with criminal justice reform, working with the court systems, with people experiencing homelessness. We're just now starting that in Oklahoma City. We actually had last week, our first homeless court is what they're calling it. So we're now working with the municipal court, with people who have identified as experiencing homelessness. They're working with a case manager. They actually come to court at our day shelter rather than going down to the courthouse. That can be so intimidating. So they get to come to where they're comfortable. They're with their case manager. They talk with the judge. And essentially, if they continue to work with a case manager, all of their charges are dropped. There's no fines. I mean, just wiped clean. And I mean, that's great, because trying to get people housing, sometimes those criminal backgrounds can be a barrier to it. So for us to be able, to help out with that is just been great. As far as homelessness, I'll probably talk about this a lot more because that's my specialty. I feel I'm actually our program coordinator for street outreach and rapid response in Oklahoma City. So we do street case management. I feel like a lot of people talk about, we got to meet our client where they're at, and we do emotionally, but what about physically? So we truly meet our clients where they are, physically and mentally, emotionally, whatever, we are there. So with that, get a lot of people housing, and we use what we call housing first. I don't know if you have ever heard of that. You probably have, but it's just that. It's housing first. I mean, if you could imagine living on the street, trying to figure out where you're going to sleep, what you're going to eat, you're not really thinking about much else. So we believe with housing first, we can take out of that survival mode, out of that environment, into a home. Now you're safe. Now you have a place to shower, a place to cook. You have an address to put on a job application. So we really believe by doing that gives people a chance to really work on some other things in their lives, goals that they may have. Maybe they want to get into mental health treatment, but it's really hard to do that when you're living on the street. So as far as our housing programs, we have over 1,500 housing units. In Tulsa, we actually own a lot of our apartment complexes, which allows us to be able to bring people into housing that traditionally may not be able to get an apartment just because of different barriers that they have. In Oklahoma City, we actually only own one, but we're working on that. So in Oklahoma City, a lot of the time what we do is we'll get a master lease apartment, and then we sublet it to our client. And so that takes away those barriers so that they can, actually be into housing. And then, of course, we offer case management with that housing. That's wraparound services, making sure that our clients, are following up with mental health services, maybe going to a doctor or finding a doctor, getting them SSI if they need it. All those things that people need to get to sustainability, that's what we're offering. Let's see, I kind of went through that fast. Yeah. You guys have any questions? I'm just going through my list there.
You kicked off so many boxes for me. I was like, wait. You actually did more than I was aware of, which kind of surprised me because I have kind of been stalking you guys for a little while.
Oh, have you? I guess actually, let me talk about my street outreach team real quick because I didn't even touch on that. I mean, a little bit, but so even though we're providing that street case management, we also have a hotline that's available to anyone in the community, anyone experiencing homelessness. So, maybe a community member drives the same way to work every day and they see the same person on the corner, panhandling for money. They can actually call our team and alert our team, or they can go online and fill out a form that we have. And then what we do is, our case managers, and we also employ RSSs, they will respond to that area, try to engage that individual, find out what their needs are, what they're wanting help with, get them linked up to those resources. If it's housing, we get them linked up to that. So it's really great because I feel like it gives community members the opportunity to do something rather than just giving money. I mean, because what does that really do? Yeah, it takes care of them for, an hour, a couple hours, but what else, So this allows the community to really get involved. And then the other piece to that is we're really trying hard to work with officers. So we know that they get calls all day long on situations that maybe they're not really trained to deal with. And so with that hotline, that gives the officers, someone else to call on, somebody else to help them with some of these situations that they might not have the knowledge to deal with. Because a lot of the calls they'll get is just because someone's hanging outside of a building, because they're experiencing homelessness. Or maybe someone's going through a mental health crisis. So our team is trained in crisis intervention, de-escalation techniques, therapeutic options, all of that. So when an officer calls us, we actually try to respond to that officer within 15 minutes. That way we're on the scene where it's happening, and we can ensure that the cop does not take this person to jail because experiencing homelessness or having a mental health crisis is not a reason to go to jail. So we've actually been able to intervene quite a bit and get people into that mental health treatment. And once we get them into that facility, we're able to follow them. So if they go on to a longer, time period, another hospital, we're able to follow them there. We're working on a housing plan, trying to get them connected to an outpatient provider. So that's a really great thing about, our street outreach program, which they have that in Tulsa as well. So there's an outreach team in Tulsa, and we've got one here in Oklahoma City too. So, yeah.
That is so great. I can't even tell you how much I love that. Because it's kind of like been something that, because the homeless community is like really heavy on my heart. So I tend to try to do volunteer stuff for the homeless. It's just kind of who I have been. But yeah, I mean, those were kind of basically I was like that's the kinds of things I knew they needed, and I was like, it's all in one place finally.
Right. I love that you guys are making those kits for people experiencing homelessness. That's amazing because we make kits ourselves and they look just like yours. So that's really great because they're so needed. I mean, we need them all the time. So thank you for doing that. That's amazing.
Definitely. We had intended to have it done in April and have them out, but but honestly, like it's actually been a benefit because we've well over doubled our donation items since the spring, so it's gone really well. But yeah, I mean that it was funny. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I was like, when I was a kid, I remember the very first homeless person I ever saw and how heartbroken I was when my mom drugged me into the car because all I wanted to do was for her to go in there and buy the man food. Like I understood, like he was begging for food, and I was like, that's essential. Like, how is he hungry? And like I remember like bawling, and then as we like drove, it was at a gas station, we drove by on the way back to our house, and I saw a man walk out and give him food, and I was like, okay, it's all right, it's fine. But after that I realized like my heart was just, it was just too heavy for that population. And yeah, so I'm glad that you guys are doing what you're doing, and I'm glad we can help where we can. But I did have a personal question to ask you.
Sure.
Obviously you said like the homeless community is predominantly where you're I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood that, but the area that you are working in specifically.
Oh yeah. You're talking about my job? Yeah, so I'm the program coordinator of our street outreach and rapid response team. So we actually, we have a day center in Oklahoma City that also has an office building attached to it. And it's called the Homeless Alliance. And so within that office, what they do is allow different agencies to all office together. That way it's a one-stop shop. So when people come to the day shelter, then you've got all these organizations together. So you don't have to go all over the city to access those resources. We're all together.
That's great. Oh, it's really funny because I literally had been thinking about putting together an organization that did exactly what you guys are doing. So I'm glad that's already there, and maybe I can just support you. So when you were going through school, obviously you were going, focusing on social work. Did you know, or was this your plan to work in this area?
Yeah, it was not. Of course, going to school, becoming a social worker, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a therapist. I'm going to sit in that office every day and talk to people. And when I went to do my practicum, I interviewed at different places, and I really liked the mission at the Mental Health Association. I was like, I'm going to try that. And day one, I knew, I was like, this is it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. If you had to offer advice to a student who is getting ready to look for either moving on to graduate school, getting their license, that sort of thing, what is like some advice you would offer them if they wanted to go into a position kind of like what you have?
Ooh, man, I've never been asked that before. That's tough. Just be ready. Be ready, because you're going to hear and see things that you never dreamed of. But everyone is human. So, you just got to embrace that. We've all been through different things. Just embrace it. And self-care. You have got to have excellent self-care, because I'm telling you, I always was like, self-care, okay. Then guess what? I started losing my hair, okay? It's growing back now, but self-care is extremely important in this business. I can't express that enough. But yeah, just being prepared to deal with all the trauma that other people have dealt with in their life. That's going to be put on you. You've got to be ready to be able to absorb that, find a way to get rid of that when you're away from work. Because being there for someone it's a blessing to me, just to be able to listen to somebody and let them get that out, because I can find ways to get rid of it later, but just put it on me for now. That's kind of how I feel about it. So just be ready to do that, and make sure your self-care game is on point, because you're going to need it for sure.
I was actually thinking that. I was like, I wonder what her self-care is, because I know that's going to be very difficult being in, any situation where you're counseling anyone in general, or like dealing with like populations that are, it literally could apply to working in minorities, could work, different sexual orientations, like any of those things, like they're traumatized, unfortunately. And so we hear a lot of things that we may not in our own lives. So I'm sure that is very difficult to like take that on yourself and still maintain who you are and your mental health during that time. I'm glad you talked about self-care.
Yeah, gotta have it. Got to have it.
Does anyone else have any questions you'd like to ask? I think everybody is tired. We're getting to the end of the semester, and I think if they're anything like me, they're like, okay, I'm done. Let's not.
I have to say, I'm so glad I'm not in school anymore. I do not envy you all.
Honestly, it's been a very interesting semester, to say the least. But I'm sure everybody's feeling that because of the transitions that we've had to make this year and all of that. Is there one thing that we could do to help you all?
I mean, the kits that you're making are always great. I mean, donations like that, just being a support for us is great. If you're on social media, share some of our things that we post. You can share our hotline. That way, that gets out more, which I'll put that in our chat here. I'll put our mental health assistance center line. That way, if you want to share that, you can get that out, because then, people can maybe get connected to different services. Our street outreach hotline. I'll share the one for Oklahoma City. I'm not sure what it is for Tulsa, but you can always visit our website. But yeah, just share our stuff. If you're on social media, share it. I mean, get the word out. Like, we want people to know that we're here, because we're here to help everyone.
That's great. Well, I mean, we actually already have a place we're taking the homeless bottles, but maybe in the next semester.
Next time.
We're always looking for volunteer opportunities. So I've been stalking your website, and I just, like, by 2 days missed one of them. And I was like, dang it. Why didn't you do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely get on that, because in Tulsa, I didn't even talk about this because it's brand new. They just opened what they're calling it. Well, it was called the Empowerment Center, but it's an overflow shelter where they took an old juvenile detention center and they've kind of transitioned it into a shelter where people can stay the night. They can be there during the day, and I'm pretty sure they're looking, for volunteers for that as well. So that's we've been able to reach many more people, because this shelter was on a different side of town than the other shelters were. So it brought in new clientele. We're able to help a lot more people who weren't getting that help before. So yeah, definitely, look into those volunteer opportunities.
Yeah. Do you know any more details about that? Looks like we've got a question on that. Could you possibly share some more info about that? I work at a crisis line and want to make sure we have the info.
Oh, about the Empowerment Center? I wish I had a little bit more information, because like I said, I'm from Oklahoma City, so like Tulsa is so foreign to me. I couldn't even tell you where the Empowerment Center is. But if you go to our website, you can definitely find that information out, or the phone number that I'm about to share in the chat. You could call that as well and get some more information on it, because we definitely are a resource for everyone. Just give us a call and we'll try to get more of that information to you.
Cool. You said it's on the other side of town from the other shelter. Where is it?
Yeah, I wish I knew. I don't know Tulsa. Does anyone know about a juvenile detention center that used to be in Tulsa and is no longer there?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
That I've put down. I don't know. I'm sure it's on the website though, right?
Yeah, it should be on there. Or if you call the number, they could get you that information too.
Okay.
I apologize that I don't know.
No, it's okay.
I think we just opened it last month. I mean, it's brand new. It came up real quick. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, I work at, I'm housed at Divis.
Okay.
So I help with the crisis line overnight, and sometimes we get calls that, like, we can't help that aren't necessarily domestic violence, but we try to give them other resources. So I want to make sure that we have that as like if you're needing somewhere for the night, here's this outreach.
Right.
Yeah, and that shelter is definitely a good one. It's a low barrier, so if you have an animal, you can still come. We always try to do that, because especially in Oklahoma City, a lot of our shelters have so many barriers. We have trouble getting our clients in. So, at the association, we like to get rid of as many barriers as we can. So we definitely did that with this shelter. But yeah, Jamie, call that 918 number, and they will definitely be able to get you some more information on where that shelter is. That way you can connect your clients as well.
Yeah, because normally we have like the YWCA. Well, maybe that one changed. I remember an email about it. But the ones we have are like downtown, and like you said, there's so many barriers. Animals are such a big one.
Yes.
That like long-term and short-term shelters hardly ever accept animals. So that's really cool to know.
Yeah. We need those animals, man.
Comfort.
Exactly.
So true. Okay, I've got another thing to add.
Okay.
Not necessarily just to you, but for anybody looking to donate items to the homeless thing, bottles, dog food. There we go. Dog food.
Yes, dog food is important. Yes. Dog bones. We take dog bones with us when we're out, going into encampments and stuff, because we see animals all the time. I mean, they got to eat too. So, yeah.
I feel like sometimes the individual will give up their food for their animal too. So
yes.
It's like, let's serve both and not sacrifice one. So
really,
that's great. Well, thank you so much for talking about everything. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. This was fun. I was nervous for no reason.
We're easy. We're like chatty. At least I am. I can't help that.
Right.
Yeah. I kind of left you guys for last as far as our meetings, because I was so like, I wanted this so bad. I was like, I want to talk about this. And hopefully we can get everybody kind of engaged with your organization and do some volunteer work there. So thank you again. I'm gonna pull up their website information. Let me see. I think I'd be more organized, but I'm not. So I put it in the Google Meets chat, but for anybody on YouTube, you can go to nhaok.org to get more information about the Mental Health Association of Oklahoma, and just start clicking around, because I haven't found everything on their website. So if you're looking for something, they've got all their information on there in just various places. But that is going to conclude our meeting. Again, if anybody has questions or problems, feel free to reach out. Again, money is due within the next half an hour for any t-shirts, stoles, cords, masks, any of that kind of thing that are unpaid at this point. And I had thought of something else and I forgot what it was. I guess I will send, elections. We are going to be holding a special election for next semester's president position. Since I am graduating, we are looking for those that are interested in taking the president position. So if you're interested, I will be sending out a form for you to fill out, and then we will be holding an election with those who have responded. So if you are at all interested, please fill out that form by the deadline, but just look for an email from me shortly in the next day or two with the details on that. It should be very low key. Nobody stress about the president position. It's fine. But we are looking for that position. So be on the lookout for those emails. So thank you guys again so much for being here, and feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks, guys.